of the best in the West here in BC plays the 4-0 Roughriders up against the 4-1 Lions, Glenn Suter. And you think about BC's offense, the way they've shot out of the gate. Number one offense coming into this week, led by their star quarterback, Vernon Adams Jr., who had passed for over 300 yards and 4 touchdowns in Hamilton last week in the first half alone.
Yeah, Vernon Adams Jr. is lighting it up, to say the least. The Lions starters average 350 yards per game. He has thrown 11 touchdowns to just 1 interception and has led the Lions to 4 straight wins. Trying to keep pace with the league's hottest quarterback will be 27-year-old Shea Patterson. Patterson got his first start last week versus a very good Argo defense and registered his first win.
It is a trip home for Riders head coach Corey Mace, who was raised nearby in Port Moody. First ever CFL game in person was between these two teams when he was a kid. Rick Campbell, another good start for his BC Lions in his 4th season as head coach there. They bounced back nicely after losing their opener in Toronto a month ago. The Lions won the toss. They want the ball to get it started. There is Terry Williams, will await the kick by Brett Lawton. The Saskatchewan Roughriders, the last unbeaten left, and put to the test as they send it off for Williams, who takes it back inside the Lions 20. Across the 30, and he is tripped up as he gets just across the 40 by Jacoby McLean. There's Vernon Adams getting set to go to work again. What a job he did last week in Hamilton.
Well, his pace is incredible. I mean, this is the first third of the season, 6 games in. This is game number 6. Look at the numbers, 1,752 yards. I mentioned the touchdown interception ratio off the chart, and they're on a 4-game heater.
Their first possession at Tim Hortons Field last week, 4 plays in, touchdown pass to William Stanback. Second possession, touchdown pass to Justin McInnes. They were off and running early on in that one against the Ticats. Here we go. Pressure coming, and it's an incomplete pass intended for the leading receiver in the CFL coming into week 6, Alexander Hollins.
I didn't really highlight any of the starters on the offensive line for the Lions because collectively they've done a nice job over the last 4-game win streak. They gave up 6 sacks in game 1, just 2 since then, and there's one of the hottest receivers in the league in Justin McInnes, which will create a nice matchup in this one. McInnes against Roland Milliken.
2nd and 10. The Lions starting at their 40. Pressure coming, and they get to Adams, but he gets away and gets rid of it. Deep, caught, first down and more. Aiden Eberhardt all the way down to the Rough Rider 15. Big play via indeed. A 55-yard pass to Eberhardt.
Well, his ability to escape, he doesn't do it a whole bunch throughout the game and throughout this season, but when he does, he makes the big plays on the move. This is Vernon Adams escaping the pocket. Looked like he was caught for a loss. He gets it down the field, and now it's a scramble drill.
Aiden Eberhardt in his 2nd year out of Wyoming, and that catch gets them down just inside the Rider 15. Lions quickly on the move. Taking the handoff, and down he goes. Anthony Lanier got him. And Adams just did not have time to get rid of it. He was sacked twice, Adams was, in Hamilton last week, and before that, you have to go back to week 1.
Well, this is a change on the defensive line. We'll get to the starters for Saskatchewan in a second, but Anthony Lanier is bumping out to replace Malik Carney. He gets involved early.
Normally plays in the inside, but the Riders, yes, to your point, have had a lot of injuries up front heading into this game. 2nd and 15 after that loss of 5. Back to the Rider 20. Adams to throw again. More heat. Dumps it off to William Stanback, who gets it down inside the 10. But not enough for a first down. It'll be a field goal situation coming up here for Sean White. We saw William Stanback, the receiver, a little bit more last week in Hamilton.
Yeah, had a real nice catch, got out of the backfield and down the field for a 40-yarder. But, you know, he can do that, but he is still that tackle to tackle, in between the tackles runner, pounding that ball, and nice balance to the BC Lion offense, Vernon Adams.
Sean White was 3 for 3 last week, perfect on the season. In fact, he is now the BC Lions all-time record holder for consecutive field goals made. He passed Paul McCallum last week. He's made 32 straight, looking to make it 33 and extend the Lions franchise record. For the veteran 38-year-old from White Rock, BC, 3 on the board. So quickly the Lions move down with that big play. Aiden Eberhardt Shea Patterson won his first ever CFL start last week against the Argos. Harris injured. Shea Patterson got a chance to make his first ever CFL start last week against the Argos. Went 19 of 33 for 233 and a touchdown pass, no picks.
Yeah, and I think the most impressive part of that start were the final 2 first downs that he needed to generate to seal the deal. That was a one-possession game, and he needed to go out and make a couple of plays late in that one to get the win, and he got it done.
15 of 23, 192 in that touchdown pass to Samuel Emelis. So here we go in the ground. And one area that just has not been working yet for the Riders is the running game, with the addition of A.J. Ouellette, who's only averaging 3.4 yards a carry, and he stopped for a loss.
Yeah, I think, last week he did just enough. I mean, just shy of 200 yards passing, as you mentioned. That's his overall numbers, coming in often off the bench. But in that game, 192, but did not throw an interception. Didn't make the big mistake in that game that cost the Riders.
Which is an important thing for a team that is far and away leading the turnover ratio. That's really helped them this year in the CFL. And the big pass is picked off. The safety, Adrian Green, the intended receiver, coming in, Kean Schaefer-Baker, but Adrian Green steps in front, and Green has the ball. And we just mentioned no mistakes by Patterson, but he does make one there.
He's going to look this throw down. Watch him look to the left and just stare it down, going up over the middle. And the free safety, Adrian Green, can read that throwing look and just slides over. He didn't have to cover that much ground. Just come across and get underneath the throw. Schaefer-Baker tried to pull it out of there, but couldn't get it done. Big turnover for the Lions.
In his third year out of St. Mary's, Adrian Green with his first interception of the season, and a little silly afterwards for the Lions safety. So barely in their side of midfield, the Lions go to work again, and it's William Stanback, and he has nowhere to run against that Saskatchewan defensive front.
Well, with Malik Carney out, that's what we just mentioned. They're going to move Anthony Lanier out to the end. He's played there before and can do it well. Miles Brown will play in his spot inside. The leader in that front seven is no question Jameer Thurman. Been a big difference maker for them on defense, and maybe the best halfback in the league. And I know it's early, with a lot of due respect to some good players out there, but the best halfback may just be Roland Milligan right now.
He has 3 interceptions. He's been great on special teams, too. 2nd and 9. Flushed out of the pocket. Throwing, nearly picked off by Roland Milligan. Got his hands on it. Falls incomplete. 3rd and long coming up for the Lions.
Don't see this very often with the red-hot Vernon Adams, but he was off the mark on that throw. Tough throw to make going that way and trying to throw it back, but we've seen him do this in his sleep. I mean, he's going to, again, feel that pressure upside. That's Lanier getting twice now in the backfield. That just off the mark.
The punt from Stephen Flintoff will be taken by Mario Alford, or he takes it off the hop just inside the 15 and picks up a few yards after a punt of 44 and out just inside the Rider 20. So after the turnover, no harm ultimately for Saskatchewan, and Patterson will come back on again to go to work for the 4-0 Saskatchewan Roughriders. Transferred to Michigan and had a couple of productive seasons with the Wolverines.
Yes, he did, and throwing for almost 6,000 yards in a couple of years at Michigan, and has been around the CFL.
Yeah.
Some time in here in BC.
That's where it started with the Lions, right? And later to Montreal, went to the USFL, came back to the CFL last year with Saskatchewan, getting his 2nd CFL start. A.J. Ouellette feeling his way through as he gets up to about the 24 as we take a closer look at that Saskatchewan offense.
Peter Godber leads the front for former BC Lion up there on the O-line for the Saskatchewan Roughriders, and they get Sean Bain back in the receiving corps. So Coach Mueller up top, the offensive coordinator, has another deep threat added to a very good receiving corps.
Second possession, Saskatchewan, trailing by 3. Their first possession, it was an interception thrown by Shea Patterson. And they blow it down like a time count.
Saskatchewan number 5. 5-yard penalty, remains second down.
See the frustration just as he took the ball and just didn't get it on time.
Well, chalk one up for the crowd here at BC Place. It was a very good crowd, and there's a lot of green and white in this crowd, too. That happens all the time at Mosaic.
The command center reviewing this play, the catch by Justin McInnes. They marked him back at the 47. Rick Campbell challenging, and here's the ruling.
After review, the ruling on the field stands. It's third down.
Third down and 3, not third down and 1.
BC, by losing its challenge, has lost a timeout.
Yeah, and not catching it.
Yeah.
Initially,
Then he went down and no one touched it.
Initially, I get the challenge from Rick Campbell because it looked like he had possession when he caught it, so that would be forward progress, and then he's down. But what they ruled was that there was movement of the ball. He didn't have control until he got pushed back 3 yards, and then he went down there as well. So that's why it was ruled back 3 yards from the line from the marker.
So there you go, back at the 47 now for 3rd and 3, and that's the difference is they'll have to punt now. Stefan Flintoft is on at his 33. Mario Alford back awaiting this one. Takes it at the Rider 15. Alford, after a point of 48 yards, gets it across the 25. Their head coach, Corey Mace, from Port Moody, BC, here in the Lower Mainland, and Vancouver home. And another interesting connection, Glenn, that is Eric Fraser, former CFL player with Calgary and Ottawa, BC too, but they were teammates in Calgary, and lo and behold, Eric Fraser's a pilot now, and he happened to be flying the plane that brings Corey Mace and that charter flight and the Saskatchewan Roughriders back to Vancouver for him, his first appearance back home as a head coach. Eric Fraser, they were teammates and roommates.
Well, and you know, Eric Fraser was a DB, and he was drafted by Calgary, so they were teammates. But he was also drafted in the expansion draft to Ottawa when Ottawa came back. Eric Fraser. So really cool to have those two guys, former teammates, unite on the charter flight on the way. That's cool.
And he told us a story, Corey Mace did, when we asked him about his first CFL game as a fan growing up here in the Vancouver area, and it was here against the Saskatchewan Roughriders.
Yeah.
Josh Archibald, who's the sack leader for BC, coming in, had 3. He gets to him there, and we hear from Chantal that the right tackle, Jamarcus Hardrick, his day is done. We saw earlier he was taken off on a cart, so a blow to the offensive line for the Saskatchewan Roughriders.
And where did that sack come from? It came from that side of the Saskatchewan offensive line, and Archibald had to work for this one. Now, he gets blocked pretty well and pushed past. Man, that's Logan Furlan,
who is normally a guard and moving outside after the injury. So here, after the punt of 37 yards and the return by Terry Williams, gets it up near midfield. So Adams and the Lions offense quickly back on the field now. 24 jersey, CFL fans. He is trying to break a record in how quickly he can be in all 9 CFL stadiums. To do it in 15 days. The guy beside him is the one who has the Guinness record, and Chris and their friends, he was inspired by him to raise money for cancer. He started in Winnipeg, his original hometown. He lives in Ottawa now, but he started last night with the Stamps and the Bombers, and Chris Tamalfachaki is here at this game, and in 2 weeks' time he's to go to his last one in Toronto. So it's Justin McInnes picking up where he left off inside the 35, and a first down for the Lions on the move.
We're going to watch and see what Saskatchewan does with Justin McInnes in this second half. Clearly they dropped into that zone again, and you heard David Sanchez, former DB, talking about at halftime that, you know, one way to try and limit him is to get press coverage on him, play more man, send more pressure at VA. That is Justin McInnes slow to get up here.
He is still sitting down with the medical staff of the Lions out. They appear somewhere in the left leg.
Well, and with the way they're doing that, it looks like they're stretching the calf, which would indicate a cramp. Hot day in here in Vancouver. And he's run about, what, 50 miles tonight?
Sure seems like it. Yeah, 11 catches for 177 yards in that touchdown.
Well, in the first half, He had 52.4% of Vernon Adams' passing yards. And now it's at 56.9 with that catch. Thank you, John Russin, our stats guy, who is feeding me some great information here on just how dominant Justin McInnis has been. So
Johnny Russin right on top of that. And good to see McInnis getting up, and looked like a cramp was able to jog off to the sideline. And
you get a sense for his size and wingspan when you see him, and when we saw him in the interview beside Chantel, and just how tall and big a target he is.
Well, when we talked to him a couple of days ago, if you could imagine having a game like he had in Hamilton, and he couldn't. That was the game of his life, and now he's trumping that just a week later with what he's doing so far. 1st and 10. Ryder 33. Adams throws, deflected, nearly intercepted. Eberhardt came in. Poisson was in the area too. 2 receivers close by, and it was Eberhardt that got his hands on the ball and deflected it up.
Slot receiver, and that's exactly where Justin McInnis into the boundary has lined up. Catchable ball, but McInnis being much taller, that's what Vernon Adams is used to throwing.
So incomplete, 2nd and 10. 9-point BC lead, in position to add to it. Adams to the right, it's intercepted! Picked off Roland Milligan. Their interceptions leader has another, and was he face masked while being taken down? It looks like it, as a flag does come out. So Milligan, we talked about him earlier, injured through much of last season, and off to a great start so far in this one.
Intended target is right here, and Milligan on that halfback spot is going to be inside on Barry Hill.
After
and watch
the
up to this
major foul, face mask, BC number 62. It's 15-yard penalty. It's 1st down, Saskatchewan.
There's the penalty call, and as he came out of his break, Barry Hill, he stumbled just a little bit. There's the face mask at the end of it. Vernon Adams continues with the throw, and Milligan coming downhill just continues to run the route. Number 4 on the season.
That is the number 4, as you mentioned, and number 2 only. Just the 2nd interception thrown by Vernon Adams this season. The first one was back in week 1 in Toronto. Big play, Milligan. The interceptions leader. Little fake thrown to Emilus, trying to make it happen after the catch, and he does. Close to a 1st down as he takes down a poor cameraman as well, and helps him up as well. That's a dangerous spot down there. The camera working the sidelines.
Darryl looks like he'll be okay down there. Coming right at you. This is his look.
This is Darryl's point of view. And just a 2nd in inches. The BC 34. And a 1st down for the Riders.
We talked in the first half about that Rider defense able to create the turnovers, leading the league in that regard, creating 9 interceptions coming into the night, 5 fumble returns, 14 total takeaways. You're looking at 3 per game. So even though offensively still finding their way, that defense keeps you in a game.
Turnovers are even, 1 apiece right now after that interception by Milligan. 1st and 10 at the BC 32 now. Shea Patterson quickly to Sean Bain. Had a quieter afternoon, but he has enough there for a 1st down after a family tragedy kept him away from the team last week. Bain back with the Riders.
Moving the chains, most important. New set of downs, can go back and open the playbook. You can, there's Bain out there at the wideout spot. Working with Schaefer Baker. Got a leg going down the seam. Trying to get a block.
The 2nd catch of the day for Sean Bain. Down 21. They're coming in and running hard as A.J. Oleta gets it down to the 15. So a better running second half for the big bruising running back of Saskatchewan.
was edge pressure this time coming here, and they run right away from it. So the right call at the right time for edge pressure from BC. There's linebacker coming up the field, Patrice Rene, and run right away from it.
Gain of 6, 2nd and 4. Riders inside the 20, down by 9, thinking end zone. Looking end zone for Emilus. Coverage is there, it's knocked away. Incomplete, and a 3rd down is coming up. Patrice Rene.
Got some help from his safety, Adrian Green, as well, who's just going to flow to the football here on this corner route. It's a tough one to get to, although it is the short side of the field. So the safety's responsibility there will be the short side wide out or corner to help him, and the halfback. And you see Green coming over to help Rene. Those are the 2 Canadians we're talking about, and how happy Rick Campbell has been with those guys.
And the camps they had made it possible to let go Marcus Sayles, who's now with the Riders. And that field goal is good for Brett Lother. So they chip away. They get down. They get 3 at the board. They're back to within 6.
Felt really comfortable in this defense. He also said that he knows his boy is VA, and they talk all the time still, but they got to limit those explosive plays from him. He also mentioned that he still talks to Gary Peters and TJ Lee all the time. He said that him and Gary Peters have been back and forth on the phone all week, and he said, listen, we know Gary Peters is the best trash talker, but you might see me in the end zone tonight, guys.
He was last week.
He sure was, and that was a big one too. That was the difference point-wise in the Riders' win, is pick 6 against Toronto. On the ground, William Stanback. And to follow up on Sayles suits, you know, you talked about earlier, normally a player goes against the team that cut them. There's animosity there. And as Chantel talked about, we did not sense any from him.
Not really. He really appreciated Ryan Phillips, defensive coordinator here in BC, and what he learned from him. And you know, but he did mention his teammate Roland Milligan, and he wanted to be clear that as good as Gary Peters, TJ Lee, guys that have been teammates of his,
Winston Rose in Winnipeg.
He said he thinks Milligan is that player.
Adams open. McInnes seems just fine, thank you. Big catch, another 1st down, and maybe the cramp is coming back. Got off slowly before when that left leg was cramping, and the helmet comes off now as he's hurting again, but that's after another big catch.
Boy, and these linebackers, I saw CJ Avery just get up shaking his head like, how close are we? How deep do you have to get into those benders that McInnes talks about? Over 200 yards with that catch tonight, and we're not done the 3rd quarter yet.
And he is the CFL's leading receiver in yardage. Justin McInnes doing that, passing Tyson Philpott doing another big week.
Now this though is, let's think of the pace that these guys are on. We're talking 2,000-yard receivers that happen to be Canadian.
Top 2 receivers in the CFL, both talented Canadian receivers. Justin McInnes, Tyson Philpott. What a start he's had, and unfortunately, but you know, hoping that this is nagging right now in the game, but hopefully nothing serious. It looked to be a cramp before.
Well, Rick Campbell has to be careful here now. You know, because now that he's got the cramp and the calf has done that, and you know, it's not right. He's got to be careful not to push it and maybe lose 18 for a couple of weeks. So be smart how he does now, especially after 2. And it looks like this is a little more permanent, him coming off right now.
And despite all the changes in the receiving corps from one year to the next for BC, it still looks like an embarrassment of riches. Keon Hatcher has been out since last year's Western Final.
And he's close, yeah.
And he's getting close to a return, and McInnes in Hatcher's old spot in the boundary slot. Curious to see how they use them all when Hatcher does come back. 1st and 10, the 43. That is Alex Hollins. What a move on Deontay Williams to pick up more yardage. Alex Hollins inside the Rider 30.
A lot of space out there. They say it's a lonely place to be out there on the corner. It's you and that receiver, a little slant route. He catches it. Watch the move. Big plant there with the left foot. Stick that left foot in the ground and get up and get another 3 to get to the first down marker.
Get it down to the Saskatchewan 28. So the Riders just closed it to 6 again. It's been that kind of game lately since the second quarter. Wavering from 9 points to 6 points, and BC's threatening again. William Stanback had that big day running and receiving last week in Hamilton as he gets that one down just inside the 25.
This is one thing that Jameer Thurman does very well. There's so many real good middle linebackers in the league right now. Watch him scrape to the hole, take away the A-gap, and then slide outside. A-gap between center and guard, then slide outside to that C-gap outside the tackle and bring down William Stanback.
Middle linebacker for the Riders, his first year with Saskatchewan. He was with Hamilton last year and with Calgary for a few seasons before that. Pressure coming. Adams gets rid of it. Down to the end zone. Coming down close for Hollins. Had a shot at it. Coming in a bit low in front of him and went down but just couldn't hang on to it. And third down coming up BC.
Yeah, full pressure now. Here's Jameer Thurman again, and watch Lanier on the right side. They're going to get up the field. He gets double teamed. There's pressure in the face of Vernon Adams, so he's got to get rid of it and hope that Hollins can turn it and come back towards the ball just off his hands. That was a tougher one, way tougher than the drop early in this game. He had to really fight to get back to that one.
So instead, Sean White comes on. He has been perfect so far in this game from 32 away. And he is still perfect. The streak continues. And they're busy doing updates on that one. Well, the tennis action will continue and conclude at Wimbledon with the gentlemen's final Sunday morning. Novak Djokovic, Carlos Alcaraz. What a final that is. And you can see it. Breakfast at Wimbledon, 9 Eastern, 6 Pacific on TSN. Got one of the legends all time in the sport and one of the young up-and-coming superstars in Alcaraz. They meet again in a Grand Slam final. Here at BC, 22-13 now, 9-point lead restored for the Lions. Winding down in the third quarter to the final minute. Shea Patterson taking to Bain, dumps it off to Ouellette. Head of steam across the 45 for Ouellette. He beats Bo Lacombo and heads out of bounds.
Great contact there. Bo Lacombo is getting more playing time. When Ben Hladek went down, Lacombo played for him in this spot. Now Ben Hladek is back, but because Josh Woods went down, Hladek's in the middle, and Lacombo hustles up from that strong side spot. Watch the contact.
Under a minute till three-quarter time at 2nd and 3. Riders flags out. It's caught. Kean Schaefer-Baker. First catch of this game, and it's a big one. Still on his feet. Breaks loose inside the 20, down inside the 15. As mentioned, a flag came out with the snap of the ball.
Well, I'm not sure if he was drawn, but it looked like
Offside, BC number 0. Penalties declined.
Siona Tahema was offside. That's about what I was going to say. He was coming off the edge. It was a blitz by BC, and the question is, can the young Shea Patterson pick up the blitz? The offside comes from that side. There's a blitz pressure coming up the middle. You see Lacombo on a twist. That's picked up by Ouellette. There's the slant route from Schaefer-Baker. He reads it. He's the blitz beater right down the middle. And how about the second effort to get into the red zone?
49-yard catch and run. And he did have one other catch earlier, a 5-yarder, but that's the biggest one. Down inside the 15, Riders in business. Toss inside of the sweep. Emelis taking advantage of his abilities, considerable as they are, after he has the ball in his hands. Seen that as he gets close to another first down, Saskatchewan.
Crossbuck action here where Ouellette's going one way and Emelis comes around the corner the other. Definitely run the ball here.
A 2nd and 1. And as the third quarter ends, the Roughriders have a great chance to cut this BC lead down to 3 if they can get into the end zone to start the fourth. And they've had some near misses in a game they're trying to tighten up for Corey Mace and the unbeaten Saskatchewan Roughriders. Set the stage for the fourth quarter with the Riders threatening to get it to within 3 points.
Well, two top teams in the West, two 4-win teams. The Saskatchewan Roughriders haven't lost this season under Corey Mace. We've got over 600 yards of offense on the board already after 3 quarters. Kind of what we expected between these two teams, and they're delivering again. It's, you know, it almost comes down to maybe the deciding play here might be the special teams, might be like a return or a block kick that turns the tide. We'll see, but they're putting on a show. Two top teams in the West.
They sure are, and it's typical Saskatchewan. Even though they're behind in net yards, they haven't led in net yards in any of their games, and they've won them all. And turnovers too have been a big factor.
Well, that's the one of the reasons is that turnover ratio at +10 coming in.
Here we go, first and goal at the BC 4. Shea Patterson, second CFL start, looking for another win, trying to get closer. Under pressure, they've got him. He is sacked. Coming in is Bo Lacombo. That takes Patterson down for a long second and goal now.
Real nice rush lane from Bo Lacombo as he comes kind of inside and then around to get to Shea Patterson. He's going to close down the edge a little bit, and it makes a tough angle for Schaefer Baker to get there to kick out the linebacker. The Riders had it blocked up, but they couldn't get Schaefer Baker in position because of the lane that Lacombo took.
Third sack by the BC defense on Shea Patterson in this game. Second and goal at the Lions 11. Patterson looking to take off. Does take off inside the 5, down to the goal line. His Patterson's helmet came off just down near the goal line. It is about a foot or two shy. And a third down coming up.
Well, he had the 18-yard touchdown against Toronto, a very similar play last week, just like this, with his great speed to the outside, and then decides, I'm going to lower the shoulder and get there. Loses his hat. Forward progress should be right around the 1-yard line. But the ball didn't cross the plane, I don't believe.
It was Pete Robertson taking him down. Patrice Rene had the hit up high that knocked the helmet off. And he is in, and it's third and goal. What a pivotal moment in this football game. Lions lead by 9. Riders threatening to close it out, and a big test for the BC defense now. Third down. Patterson keeps waiting a signal. Still no signal.
Now they're talking about it.
Now they're discussing it.
I think you're right, Rod. There was no signal. Touchdown from the officials at this point.
Oh, they're saying
first down BC.
First down BC. A turnover on downs.
Well, let's see if there's any angle that might give Corey Mace a chance to challenge where the forward progress was. Did the ball cross the plane? Can't tell from that angle. Boy, it's awful tough to see it when you're down on the goal line like this. You got to see the ball, and it's got to cross the plane, and nothing there conclusive. Saying first down BC.
Oh, the Riders got so close. Within a foot. But it's a turnover on downs. BC takes over, still up by 9, early fourth quarter. Riders trying to stay unbeaten and improve to 5-0. The Lions, who lost in week 1, trying to take over first in the West. Adams Under pressure, gets rid of it. No, incomplete. He wanted Hollins with Milligan right there. Second down coming up.
Justin McInnis has not returned to the offense just yet. When I mentioned a little more permanent, as in missing a few series, so we'll see if he can return. In the meantime, haven't said this all year long, but Alexander Hollins is fighting it a little bit.
He's had a couple of drops that could have been touchdowns. This 9-point lead, big second down for the Riders defense now as they're forcing Adams out of the pocket. Intercepted. Picked off. Deonte Williams has it. And the Rider offense will be back on the field and right back in business on the second interception of this game, thrown by Vernon Adams. That'll fire up Corey Mace and all the rest in green and white. Deonte Williams to the
turnovers. There was one interception for Vernon Adams. That was in game 1 of this season in 199 attempts. He went without another one. Now he's thrown 2 in the last 5 throws. Big pick, especially in plus territory for Deonte Williams.
Williams gets that one. Roland Milligan got the earlier one 5 passes ago. So first and goal. Riders right back at it. A.J. Ouellette inside the 5. Turns around, backs up. 3, 2, 1. And a touchdown Saskatchewan. He just kept pushing. And he finds the end zone for the second time in this game.
And Vernon Adams, Rod, is talking to his defense and talking to the guy saying, that was on me. That one is on me. I put my defense in a bind, putting them back on the field in that territory. I say let's give the credit to Deonte Williams with the pick, the sudden change, and you're right. A.J. Ouellette just not denied. He gets help from the big boys pushing behind him.
Wow. And second touchdown on the ground, A.J. Ouellette in this game. And frustrating on the ground for the Riders this season, but really breaking out and at a critical time, too. As he a little bump in for his head coach, Corey Mace, going after Brett Lawther. So just they had the turnover on downs, but then the quick turnover thrown by Vernon Adams, and back they were in first and goal, and it took a little bit longer, but they do cash in and get it to within 3. Or 2 points.
Well, Deonte Williams reads the mail here. If you're throwing an out route, and that's why Vernon Adams is pointing at himself. If you're throwing an out route here, it has to be on time. If it's not on time, the DB cuts underneath it. He's lucky he didn't just score right there, but it only took one play. A.J. Ouellette pounds it in there, and the big boys get in behind him and start rooting this out. They just push, 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 push. And 45 ends up across the goal line.
Another 2-point game. 22-20. BC still leads, but the Riders, what a fourth quarter team this year. Right from week 1 in Edmonton when they were down, came all the way back to win that game.
No question. When you include to the points tonight, 65-27 in the fourth quarter, Corey Mace has got his team finishing strong.
And they try a little dribble short kick. Lawther recovers it over the 40. Flags come out. But this looks like Saskatchewan football.
Well, it went 10. The question is, was someone offside?
There's no foul in play.
Okay, they were looking
10 yards. It's legally touched by Saskatchewan. It's first down.
Brett Lawther knows exactly where that ball had to go before he could touch it. If he touches it before 10 yards here, it's an illegal play. They throw the flag because they're not sure if he touches it right in there. But again, the review
First down Saskatchewan.
Video can help them verify the fact that he didn't. Surprises the BC Lions. How about that call? Because if that doesn't work, Vernon Adams is in plus territory.
You'd have it around the Saskatchewan 40. They take a chance. And the payoff there for Saskatchewan on special teams and well executed by Brett Lawther. Dribbles it along. It had to go 10. It did. He falls on it. And they're within 2 points of BC now, and they have the ball at their 41. Momentum in this game has really changed. Fourth quarter, points off turnovers, and it's 10-0. This is a typical Saskatchewan story this year. how they take advantage of those turnovers as well. So Shea Patterson to the right, it's caught. It's Schaefer Baker at midfield and more. He's been working hard after contact as he gets it into the Lions zone.
How about throwing a little sidearm, just different arm angle for Shea Patterson, who, as we mentioned last week, right off the top, had to make 2 first downs to seal the deal against Toronto in his first start. He's got ice in his veins here, too. He's down by 2. No worries on the road. Jam-packed here, and he changes his arm angle and completes that one.
You can just sense a different energy on that Riders sideline right now, inside the 50 of BC. Here comes Saskatchewan, 1st and 10. Patterson eludes the rush for a while, but no. It's Jonah Tavai, whose brother J.R. Tavai used to play in the CFL. He picks up a big sack on Patterson.
Now listen, there's lots of time left. If it was down 2 or 3 minutes, I would say that 2 or 3 minutes, I would say that, you cannot give up a sack down by 2 here, but this is still with 10 minutes. He's trying to make a play and peel out of there, and he's got great speed. So if he gets away from Tavai there, he can get out on the edge like we've seen Vernon Adams tonight, and he will look downfield and can be dangerous. So I don't think you fault him there as far as never giving up a sack in that situation.
Quite the football family. 6 brothers who all played Division I college ball, the Tavais. There's one in the NFL with New England. 2nd and 23. 3-man rush only. Patterson completes it underneath. And that's Emelis, midfield. Back to the 50. Ball comes out! Is this another turnover? Still fighting for it. Lions, as they discuss a BC football. Manny Rugamba's the one that comes away with it. Emelis wasn't going to get the first down, but got it back into the Lions zone. But BC has it now near midfield. Rugamba. +1 in this one. 3rd time the Riders have been turned over, and Vernon Adams going to work. He throws, and it's low, intended for Alexander Hollins around midfield. 2nd down coming up.
Yeah, that turnover created great hustle from the defensive line for Josh Archibald, who created that turnover. Now, you see the strip from behind. This is flat-out hustle to rush the passer, come all the way back, and get after the receiver on the crossing route. And what it does is it grabs all the field position. Even if they're stopped, and the Rider defense responds here.
2nd and 10. BC at their 49. Pressure is coming on Adams. He gets rid of it. Deep ball. Open receiver, and it is caught this time. Hollins with a big catch. DeMarcus Fields right there in coverage, but he hauls it down, and there's another injured Rider in the field.
Well, first let's look at the play. William Stanback is going to pick up the blitz coming from the middle. So a little bit of a stunt up front. It's going to be C.J. Avery. He comes up, picked up nicely right here. That gives a chance to Vernon Adams to get it down the field on the deep ball. He launches it, and a guy who's been fighting it all night comes up with a catch.
Hollins came in leading the CFL in receiving yards, came into this week, but as Glenn talked about, a couple of drops that could have been touchdowns, and it's more of the play of the #1 receiver, along with McInnes for the BC Lions. The injured Rider is Micah Johnson, who is now up and now jogging off. Good sign there. Inside the 15 now of Saskatchewan's Rick Campbell's BC Lions. And see this game suddenly get very close, just a 2-point lead. Under 9 minutes to go here in the 4th quarter. And you see McInnes is back out in the huddle and stretching out that left leg. He's had to leave twice because of cramping. He's had a remarkable game. 12 catches, 203 yards, and a touchdown for number 18, Justin McInnes. From the Saskatchewan 14. Handing off. Williams stand back, and a good tackle by C.J. Rivas. Got in behind, got down at the feet, and made sure he went no further.
Well, this is, clearly Justin McInnes is a little bit careful with that calf because he was lined up as the tight end on this play. And Rivas goes around him and makes the tackle in the backfield. Can't blame Justin McInnes for being a little cautious on that calf when he's got a blocking assignment, but big play by Rivas.
2nd and 7 now. Adams takes off. 10, 5, touchdown! Vernon Adams calls his own number and takes it in for a much-needed BC major.
Riders have been providing some pressure. We've seen Lanier in the backfield. They've sent some blitz. See Cox coming around the corner, and that's what flushes Vernon Adams Jr. out to the right, and he gets a key block from his fullback, David Mackey, inside the 5-yard line to get him across the goal line.
Mackey working on the X-line, Marcus Sales, so it's 4 plays, 61 yards in under 2 minutes. All the momentum lately had been Saskatchewan's. BC takes them back in a big way there to establish a 9-point lead again. A rushing touchdown this time for Vernon Adams, who sits on 399 yards passing.
In the play is to push to the flat from the tight end position. There he goes out to the flat, but the play's not over. Vernon Adams is creating. Watch David Mackey, the fullback now. Find a guy to block. Get on him. Pads on pads and open up a run lane so that Vernon Adams can get that last 5 yards to get the pay dirt.
So back to 9. Flintoff kicking off. Still lots of time for the Riders halfway through the 4th quarter, needing to get their momentum back. And that will help with Mario Alford. That's a big return. He gets that up across the 35 for Shea Patterson. They head back on. Patterson 16-21. He's thrown for 270 yards, and he's been picked off once.
But keep in mind, still lots of time, and it's a 2-possession game, so field goal matters. If they can get in field goal range first, put the defense back out there and see if they can get the stop to have the ball last. Have the ball last in a 1-possession game.
Zach Fry in on the offensive line now after the injury to the right tackle, Jamarcus Hardrick. Fry in his 2nd year out of Western. Logan Furlan is playing that tackle spot. A.J. Ouellette has some room and another big run and a hurdle too. Up across the 50 and a first down on the ground for the Saskatchewan Roughriders.
Some big boys up front here. Take care of business right at the point of attack. Big on big opens up the hole, and A.J. Ouellette. This is tough on a DB. That was Ronald Kent going, do I brace myself for contact here? I'm going to brace myself and go low, and just turtled him.
Normally the go-to move for 45 is just put the head down and steamroll. There he goes again. Ouellette up to midfield. But he's needed a breakout game because it's been slow going since he came to Saskatchewan. He was averaging 3.4 yards a carry. He's a little hobbled there as he gets up, but he's at 72 yards so far in this game.
Well, started that second half with, on the first drive, at 27-yarder, so it looks like he's going to definitely have to go out for 3 plays at least now because the training staff will have to come out and attend to him. And you wonder again, just the heat and humidity here in Vancouver, that is this a cramp?
Ouellette, who made a name for himself with the Toronto Argonauts, winning a Grey Cup in 2022 and taking over that #1 running back spot after an injury to Andrew Harris. That's how he got his chance in 22. There's Clint Ratkovich.
Well, this looks like more than
just cramping.
I don't want to guess here, but
Saskatchewan running back A.J. Ouellette. Well, tomorrow, Indiana Fever face the #1 team in the Western Conference, the Minnesota Lynx, for another WNBA clash. Don't miss it. 4 Eastern, 1 Pacific. And TSN will miss Caitlin Clark. That one. Well, that walks off.
Really good news that he's walking off. Little jog at the end. I think he'll be back.
67 yards in the second half out of that yardage. Clint Ratkovich in the backfield now, replacing him. Stays in to protect, and it's off the hands of the intended receiver, Jareth Stearns. And so third down is coming up, and Corsack is coming on to punt this football away.
Manny Rugamba is having himself a game in that BC secondary. That Stearns little cross motion then cuts across the face of Rugamba. Remember, he recovered that fumble created by Archibald and now gets the knockdown.
So Terry Williams back. If BC can hang on and win, they would improve to 5-1, and they'd be alone in first place in the West, and the Riders would lose for the first time this season, but there is still time after a punt of 46. Calling upon the Saskatchewan defense again is Corey Mace to stop Vernon Adams. They've managed to pressure him. They've picked him off a couple of times, and yet he is still on the threshold of another 400-yard passing game. He's at 399. He is at 400-yard passing games in his career.
Well, I think he, averaging 350 a game coming in wasn't good enough. I think, we can add to that.
You'd think it might be.
Yeah. But this is even pushing the pace. I mean, he keeps up with this, and this against a good defense. He keeps going, and he's going to pass that Flutie mark over 6,000,
which is a big ask, but on base now for over 6,000. You talked about on the ground, William Stanback. So
31 will stand back on the camera. After a game of 7.
Micah Johnson's got to be careful here with whomever he's sparring with. Lanier over there just remind him, don't worry, it's all about second down now.
A 2nd and 5 after that pickup by Stanback. This is quieter on the ground for William Stanback. 8 carries, 15 yards. And 14 through the air. 2nd down. Wide open Justin McInnes. How many times have we seen it? How many times has it been said in the last 2 weeks?
Well, he's on fire. He's on a roll, and this is press coverage across the board, it looked like, and then all of a sudden he just gets let go. I mean, it was a corner route, and C.J. Avery just kind of dropped him. I think that was supposed to be, from Corey Mace's point of view, cover 2-man, which is three guys deep, and man-to-man underneath, and I don't think Avery got the call.
Get a bit of a feeling of what Mark Washington might have been thinking last week with Hamilton's beleaguered defense, thanks in large part to McInnes, and that's back to Stanback in the first down, and he's going nowhere.
What is McInnes at now? I mean, he's pushing 250 in this game, 227 right now, and a carefully run corner route there. That wasn't a full-speed corner, but if you drop a coverage against Vernon Adams, and the veteran will make you pay for it.
And by the way, I just mentioned beforehand, but with that, he'd gone over Adams 400 for the 5th time in his career. He's at 423 right now. And it's still a game. I mean, it's a 2-score game, a 9-point BC lead. They haven't been able to shake the Riders by any means. Saskatchewan got it to within 2. They've had their chances too. The clock starts to become an enemy for the Riders. Still a CFL eternity at 4:10. Pressure, and Adams gets rid of it. Oh, caught again. DeMarcus Fields is right there on McInnes, but the total just keeps going up, and we get a flag out now and some tempers flaring.
Well, McInnes's reach, we'll sort out this flag as they go back, but McInnes's reach is not just for high throws.
After the play, misconduct foul, 15 yards against Saskatchewan number 4. It's first down BC.
He was in a heated argument on the last play. And now Corey Mace wants to just have a quick chat with him. But, you know, when I talk about McInnes's reach, it's not just on high throws. This is reaching around a defender and getting there with his arms and hands before the defender can make the play. I mean, you can't be in better position than Fields was on that throw.
Heard Davis Sanchez talk about it at halftime, just how hard it is for a defense. You got a receiver who's in a zone working with his quarterback the way he is, and with that height, that reach, a whole lot of McInnes. First stand back, maybe a yard
31
on that first down play. Second and long coming up here for BC. As the clock keeps ticking.
Big play for the Riders here to get. They need to stop against Jordan Maksimic's offense, and they can still keep it at 2 possessions, but it's 2 possessions now, and a field goal is one of them. It stays at 2. The major.
Inside the 35. You said you think McInnes can get to 250. He's at 243 right now. Second and 10. Passing down. Pressure's on. Adams escapes. And he dives this time, and a flag does come out as he heads down. Not a first down, but he got it down around the 25. Not like a rider hit him as he was going head first, diving, trying to get to the first down.
Well, the flag came out way over on the sideline, right in front of the Lions bench. Unless they, from that angle, saw something way into the middle of the field, it might have been an illegal contact.
We're down just at 2:57 on the clock, so the 3-minute warning is coming up here as well as they just wait for them to sort this out. Critical moment for the Riders here.
All right, Lions fans, I know you're having a good time. So when the game is done, your night doesn't have to end.
Just under 3 minutes to go. Looks like it is against Saskatchewan. We'll sort that out when we come back with the Ottawa Red Blacks coming in at 2-2 against McLeod Bethel Thompson, and the 0-4 Edmonton Elks coming off a bye and looking for that elusive first win, even though they've been very, very close. Not that it matters, but at a game here in Vancouver just a couple of weeks ago where it came down to the final play. Back-to-back games that way. So watch the conclusion of Week 6 from Edmonton tomorrow, CFL on TSN. Penalty was illegal contact against the Riders, so inside the 25 for Adams and a first down. And it is caught. It's Alexander Hollins. He gets it inside the 20. And a second and short coming up here for BC. 2:44 in the clock.
Yeah, the penalty was illegal contact in the secondary, so that's a first down for the Lions, and that's their first play on getting Hollins on that curl. A second and manageable situation on 2nd and 5.
At the Saskatchewan 18-yard line. First meeting of the season between the Riders and the Lions. BC's trying to put a bow on it. Pressure. Adams is caught. And Milligan aggressively taking down the Lions receiver. That's Hollins. Caught that one, and he is still down.
He timed this hit up very well and then hooked the leg, so it looked like Hollins maybe hit his head, the back of his head on the turf. I mean, a clean hit, definitely, from Roland Milligan there. Good to see Hollins get up.
The applause from fans as Hollins does get to his feet.
But they'll have to do a sort of full assessment if it's a head injury. It looked like he'll be okay.
McInnes, who's had to leave a couple of times with apparent cramping in his left leg, but what a game for him, following up his previous best last week in Hamilton in a big way. 14 catches, 243. Looking for a little icing on the cake right now. Heading down to 2 minutes as Lions are trying to put this thing away. Threatening from the Saskatchewan 12 at a 1st and 10. Stand back. And he's got lost yardage again. Caleb Sanders to help out. C.J. Rivas was the first to get the stand back for lost yardage.
Yeah, Rivas knew the play. I mean, he was in the playbook on this one because C.J. Rivas he didn't think about any pass coverage responsibilities. He just said, they're going to run on 1st down to William Stanback.
Timeout, Saskatchewan.
I'm going to go off the edge and just get in that backfield.
And Corey Mays does call a timeout. 2 minutes on the clock. Trying to stop BC from taking over the top of the division.
Stop from a major here keeps the game alive, even though the time is the enemy now for the Riders.
Each of these teams have big games next week against division rivals.
And I think that was a thumbs up, Rod, from Coach Campbell with regards to Alexander Hollins.
So that's some good news, and what's looking like a good news day for Rick Campbell ultimately. Back to the ground, stand back. Well, he gets free and inside the 15 again. But the Rider defense holding for another Sean White field goal try to come up here now and keep it within 2 scores, albeit it would be 12 points. And White has been absolutely perfect this season, not just the night.
Well, the Riders wanted to, at the very least, do this. So even though it stays 2 possessions, it's still 2 possessions. Now they have to get 2 majors, but the time that Vernon Adams ate up on this drive was the issue.
It's a big problem for them now. Sean White on again. He is 5 for 5, 20 yards. 6 for 6, 38 straight now without a miss for Sean White. I was talking about division rivals for these 2 teams next week as well, and in Calgary, McMahon Stadium, Wally Buono, Wall of Fame night, fittingly of course, between the 2 teams that he coached so well for so many years. A Hall of Fame coach, Lions, Stampeders, won Grey Cups with both of those teams.
The GOAT.
All-time leader in coaching victories in the Canadian Football League.
How about 282, 4-time CFL Coach of the Year.
And you look at those Grey Cup championships, 5 times with the Stampeders in 92, 98, and then that 8 and 10 team in 2001, and then with BC, Dave Dickinson as quarterback, they won in 2006 and again with Travis Lulay, beating Winnipeg in that 2011 game. And he did come back out of coaching retirement, if you will, a few years later, finish up a remarkable coaching career, but just such unprecedented success. Wally Buono to be honored back in Calgary, where he was first a head coach in the Canadian Football League. Just a minute and a half under that now, 125. For excellent special teams coverage there by the BC Lions. So they're in Calgary next week, and Saskatchewan goes home to host the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, who won back-to-back games.
Yeah, I was going to say, when we showed you that Ottawa-Edmonton promo for tomorrow, talking about the Bombers started over, and they broke out of that with a couple of wins in a row, and what a great game that was against Calgary.
It really was.
This week. Last night on Friday Night Football, and gonna have to get some big chunks here now. .125, first down from their 27. Patterson's running around and a flag comes out as well. Stays on his feet, trying to find a receiver, decides to take off, and
get close to the first down marker with 1:11 on the clock now in the fourth.
I think there's a face mask, so he felt like he had the freebie. The problem was he was killing
Holding
time.
Saskatchewan number 61.
Oh, it wasn't.
10-yard penalty. Remains first
It
down.
looked like he got a face mask with the way he snapped his head back.
It's Trevor Reed, the left tackle, who does not agree, shaking his head, but nonetheless, it'll be a 1st and 20 as the Riders are pushed back towards their end zone. Saskatchewan started with that dramatic victory in Edmonton. They were down 3 touchdowns. Came back, scored those 21. Sean Bain with a big game in week 1. And then dramatically in a walk-off by Brett Lawther in Hamilton, then beat the Ticats again, and then the Argos last week to get to 4-0. Patterson throwing Mitch Picton, and no catch. He caught the ball, but out of bounds.
Regumba was over there again. Manny Regumba's, and remember he got hurt too and had to go out for 3 or 4 plays or at least a series. And he's over there pushing Mitch Picton out of bounds.
Still looks like he's limping.
Gonna play off, don't let anybody in behind him. That'll be the strategy. You can see how far that second level is.
2nd and 20, just a 3-man rush as they back off. It is caught around the 25. Then Hladek, the middle linebacker. Or Ryder Bark, excuse me. Saskatchewan native Bark.
Down. Looked like Trevor Reed had an issue. He didn't like that holding call, one, but he also was having some cramp issues, I think, as well. The last couple of plays. So that coming in will be Miles Brown.
A defensive lineman, but yeah, he wore number 90, but for this situation puts on an offensive lineman number 69. So Miles Brown to come in when they've lost Jamarcus Hardrick first, the right tackle. Zach Fry was the only backup O lineman, and now with another injury, and awful to see Jamarcus Hardrick, who so many great years with the Winnipeg Blue Bombers and right tackle on that iconic offensive line during 4 years in that run to the Grey Cup game, 4 straight years, and then moving on as a free agent. He and Stanley Bryant, such great bookends.
Oh yeah,
on that offensive line.
And the Bombers missed him. They missed him, especially start of the season. Now as I mentioned, they've snapped out of it and got back in the win column. Can Edmonton do it tomorrow night?
Well, it's the second straight week for the Red Blacks against an 0-4 team. They had Winnipeg. We were there when, and with that, it was good Bomber defense and a whole lot of running. With Zach Collaros not able to play, and Chris Trebler got the start, and Brady Oliveira went off, and now Ottawa heads to Edmonton, and the Elks very hungry, I'm sure, to get in that win column. 3rd down, under a minute to go. They need 12 just to carry on here, and Patterson is running around again. Being chased, gets rid of it, and no. Jordan Perriman in there on Sam Emelis, and BC can run it out now with a 12-point lead. One of the backups in the secondary with the Lions, Jordan Perriman with the play, and for Rick Campbell in this early meeting of the best of the West, his BC Lions have done it, and they will take over top spot in the West Division with 10 points and improve to 5-1, and that will be the first loss of the season for the Saskatchewan Roughriders.
And you can see BC with a game in hand. However, that all evens out as the season goes on. Their bye weeks.
Oh, it's early.
Another monster game for the front runner early for MOP. Talked about that off the top. Again, I think Shea Patterson played well at times and really managed the game well to keep it close. Keep it within striking range going into the fourth quarter. That's what you want to do on the road. Had a chance to do that, the Riders.
And Vernon Adams, 26 of 42, 451 yards passing, and a lot of that, well over half of it, went to number 18, Justin McInnes. And Corey Mason said, and this is nothing on Shea Patterson, you're right, he had some solid moments in this game.
Really did.
But there will be questions about the health of Trevor Harris, and Corey Mason did say he does not expect him to be out the full 6 weeks on the 6th game.
But not 2 either. Corey didn't say that, but not...
No, not 2 either.
Right.
They had the bye as well. And then, so this would be
Timeout.
3 weeks ago since the injury against
BC.
Hamilton. But
There's still a second left on the clock. Timeout BC.
But Patterson's numbers, 17 of 25, 278, was intercepted the one time. It was another big play to Samuel Emelis. And they were able to get back in this game. They got as close as 2 before BC opened it up again.
How about the combination there?
Now, Sean White is lining up. Now, is this just thinking of the season series? Get as many points as you can, just in case they end up with the same record at the end, and point differential is a tiebreaker?
Yeah, because they only play each other twice.
Well, there you go. So if Saskatchewan wins the next meeting, they do go to the point differential, so BC wants to get as many as they can. And also, that's 39, by the way. That ties Rene Paredes' second all-time record for consecutive field goals. What a game for Sean White. He adds another one there. So, a meeting of the best in the West. Sean White, by the way, 7 for 7 in this game. He stays perfect. But for Vernon Adams, what a great start to the season. And as you said, BC just keeps rolling. Top of the West now.
Top of the West, and a quarterback to receiver combination that is just off the hook great in Justin McInnes and Vernon Adams.